Hello everyone, it's us again, the team behind the TV Days Drama Digest channel. Today, what we're bringing you is not just an ordinary story or a small twist in a soap opera. No, this is something much bigger, darker, and far more emotional. It's a storm that has been brewing quietly in the background for months. The center of this storm? Rachel. Yes, you read that right. Rachel, the young girl who has gone through more emotional turmoil than many adults could handle. What has happened to her is not just a sudden emotional outburst or a simple breakdown. It's something far more serious. Something that may change everything. Today, we are going to dive deep into what's happening to Rachel, why people say she's going crazy, why Marina is increasingly worried, and why Kristen's confession to shooting EJ might not be the whole truth. Let's unravel the layers together. A confession that shook everything. For viewers who have followed this long and winding storyline, you will remember that the shooting of EJ was a turning point. When EJ was shot, chaos erupted. Fingers were pointed in every direction. Rumors spread like wildfire. Suspicion fell on several people. But then came the moment that changed everything. Kristen confessed. Kristen stood up and said she was the one who shot EJ. She did it, she said, to protect Rachel. Her words were firm, her eyes cold but determined. It was a shocking confession, not because Kristen isn't capable of violence, but because of why she claimed to do it. She wasn't protecting herself. She wasn't protecting her reputation. She was protecting Rachel. To some, this act seemed almost noble. Marina, for instance, saw in Kristen's actions a rare glimpse of selflessness, something rarely associated with Kristen. To others, though, it was a dangerous move. It was a lie too big to contain. And soon, that lie began to poison everything around it. Rachel's emotional collapse. In the days following Kristen's arrest, Rachel's world began to crumble. She had always lived under complicated shadows, family feuds, hidden secrets, and love twisted into control. But this was different. Rachel watched as her mother was led away in handcuffs. She listened as adults whispered about her behind closed doors. She could feel their pity, their judgment, their fear. People often forget that children don't need words to understand when something is wrong. They feel it. And Rachel felt everything. Her behavior started to change. She grew quiet at times, distant at others. Then came sudden bursts of anger, unpredictable mood swings, nights filled with crying, and mornings where she barely spoke. To those around her, it looked like trauma. But Marina saw something deeper. Marina's growing concern. Marina is not just any observer, she's one of the most perceptive people in this entire story. And from the very beginning, something about Rachel's behavior unsettled her. It wasn't just grief. It wasn't just confusion. It was the way Rachel reacted whenever the topic of the shooting came up. The way she avoided eye contact. The way her hands trembled when she saw old photos of EJ. Marina began to sense that Rachel wasn't just a witness. She was connected to the shooting in a way no one else could see. Every time someone mentioned the gun or Kristen's name, Rachel's body tensed up. And recently, Marina noticed something even more alarming. Rachel started having short flashes of memories. At first, they were like broken pieces of a puzzle. Shadows, sounds, a face she couldn't fully recognize, a gunshot echoing in her ears. But as time passed, those flashes became sharper. And Marina knew. The truth was trying to claw its way back to the surface. The flash of memory that changed everything. It happened on an otherwise quiet day. Rachel was sitting alone in her room, a place that had become both her shelter and her prison. The afternoon light spilled across the floor. Everything looked peaceful, at least on the surface. Then it struck her. A sudden, vivid flash. The sound of footsteps. The weight of something cold in her hand. EJ turning around. The gun going off. Rachel gasped. Her entire body went cold. The flash was so real, so sharp, that she felt as if she was there again, standing in that exact moment. And in that terrifying instant, A horrifying thought crossed her mind. What if I was the one who pulled the trigger? The world around her blurred. She stumbled, her breathing fast, tears streaming down her cheeks. And for Marina, who had been watching from a distance, this was the confirmation she feared the most. Marlena's uneasy realization. When Marlena walked into the room, she immediately knew this wasn't just another panic attack. Rachel wasn't just scared, she was remembering. Marlena gently held Rachel's hand, but Rachel flinched as if the touch burned her. "Rachel," Marlena whispered softly, "what did you see?" Rachel shook her head. No. I didn't mean to." Her voice cracked, the words barely making it out of her mouth. And Marlena felt it, the heavy weight of truth slowly pressing down. Kristen hadn't shot EJ. Rachel had. A secret that could destroy lives. The truth, once uncovered, is not easily contained. And in this case, the truth is a ticking time bomb. Kristen's confession, once seen as a mother's sacrifice, now looks like a desperate shield to protect her daughter. If this truth comes out, it won't just shatter Rachel, it will ripple across every life connected to EJ. Think about it. EJ's family will demand justice. The police will reopen the case. Kristen could face even harsher charges for lying. And Rachel, still a minor, will be thrown into a legal and emotional storm no child should ever face. Marlena knows this. She knows the system. She knows how unforgiving it can be. And that is why she is terrified. The weight of memory. As the days go by, Rachel's flashbacks become more frequent. She dreams of the moment over and over again. Sometimes she wakes up screaming, soaked in sweat, begging for it to stop. But memory is relentless. Once awakened, it doesn't go back to sleep easily. She remembers the fear she felt. She remembers the gun in her hand. She remembers EJ's shocked expression. And worse, she remembers Kristen's voice, calm and steady, telling her everything would be okay, that she would take care of it. That Rachel didn't have to say a word. It's a promise that now haunts Rachel more than anything else. Marlena's dilemma. Marlena is caught in an impossible situation. On one hand, she is a doctor, a protector, someone who has dedicated her life to helping others. On the other hand, she is holding a secret that could destroy lives. She knows she can't simply ignore it. But she also knows exposing Rachel would break her completely. And so Marlena lies awake at night, staring at the ceiling, trying to decide whether to protect the truth or protect Rachel. It's not a choice anyone should have to make, but it's one she must face. Kristen's role in the storm. Meanwhile, Kristen sits behind bars, wearing the weight of her decision like a heavy cloak. She knows what she's done. She confessed to a crime she didn't commit. She did it for Rachel. But as much as she tries to be strong, cracks are beginning to show. Each time she receives news about Rachel's worsening condition, her heart twists a little more. In her cell, she plays the moment over and over again, the moment she decided to take the blame. At the time, it seemed like the only way to keep Rachel safe. But now she's beginning to wonder, was it the right choice? Or has she only made things worse? Rachel's unraveling mind. Rachel's behavior has grown increasingly erratic. She's no longer just sad or confused. She's terrified. She sees EJ's face everywhere, in the hallway, in the shadows, in her dreams. She hears the gunshot echoing in her ears, even when the world is silent. She starts lashing out at people who try to help her. She withdraws from friends. She stops going outside. She sits for hours in silence, trapped in her own mind. To the outside world, it looks like she's going crazy. But in truth, she's drowning in guilt, trauma, and fear. And Marlena, standing on the sidelines, knows the storm hasn't even fully hit yet. The fear of the flood. Marlena has always believed that the mind is like a dam. You can hold back painful memories for a while, but if the cracks grow too deep, eventually the flood will come. And when it comes, it doesn't just wash away the lies. It destroys everything in its path. She fears that moment for Rachel. Because when the flood of memory comes crashing down, Rachel won't just remember shooting EJ. She'll remember everything leading up to it. Every detail, every sound, every moment. And when she does, she might not be able to handle it. The return of the past. As Marina predicted, the flood begins slowly, one memory at a time. Rachel remembers the argument that night. She remembers voices shouting. She remembers fear gripping her chest so tightly she could barely breathe. She remembers reaching for the gun, not fully understanding what she was doing. She remembers the sound that changed everything. And finally, she remembers the silence after. The silence that would haunt her forever. The ripple effect. This revelation doesn't exist in a vacuum. It spreads like ripples across water. Kristen, still in jail, begins to fear that her carefully constructed lie is unraveling. Marina, torn between her duty and her heart, faces an ethical storm. EJ's family grows restless, demanding answers, sensing that something is being hidden from them. And Rachel? She's slipping further and further away from herself. A dangerous truth. The danger of a secret isn't just in its exposure, it's in how it eats away at the people who keep it. Rachel's secret is turning into a monster. She can't sleep, can't eat, can't escape it. It whispers to her in the dark, reminding her of what she did. And Kristen's lie is no longer enough to protect her. Marina knows that sooner or later, Rachel will either break down completely or be forced to confront what happened. And when that day comes, everything, absolutely everything, will change. The moment of confrontation. The night finally arrives when Rachel can no longer hold it in. She's trembling, crying uncontrollably. Marina sits with her, whispering softly, telling her it's okay to speak. Rachel shakes her head over and over again, but then, in a moment of pure collapse, the words pour out. "It was me," she sobs. "I shot EJ. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. Mommy said she'd fix it. Mommy said no one would ever know." Marina's heart shatters. She pulls Rachel into her arms, but she knows this is only the beginning. The truth has finally been spoken aloud. And now the storm can no longer be contained. What happens next? This is the question that hangs over everything like a dark cloud. What happens now? Will Marina keep the secret to protect Rachel, or will she do what the law demands and tell the truth? Will Kristen's sacrifice hold, or will it be exposed for the lie it is? Will Rachel find a way to heal from the trauma, or will this memory consume her completely? No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear: the world as they knew it will never be the same again. The calm before the next storm. For now, Rachel sits in silence, her tear-streaked face staring out the window. The night sky offers no comfort. The stars look distant, indifferent to the pain below. Inside her, a war is raging between guilt and survival, between fear and the desperate hope for redemption. Kristen, alone in her cell, whispers Rachel's name like a prayer. Marina paces the floor, knowing the next decision she makes could alter everything. A story far from over. Rachel's story is not a simple one. It is a story of trauma, secrets, and a truth too heavy for a young girl to carry. It is about how one moment can ripple through countless lives, leaving scars that may never fully heal. The flash of memory that Marina feared has come true. The flood has begun. And as it sweeps through their lives, no one will emerge untouched. The real question now is not whether Rachel will remember. She already has. The question is whether anyone around her can survive the truth. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.